I'm assuming that you're already recording well.
For a little bit. Not too long,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
That's okay. I don't want to cut out too much. I'm not going to do that many bonus episodes of us segueing until we start the episode.
Oh, please don't break back. I need you.
I need
I
you.
know you don't need me, but I need you. So unfortunately for you.
Yes, I think your back also needs you. But we're gonna talk about stuff. I'm gonna do an intro. It's gonna be a great intro. I was thinking about it on the way home. Now, if only I could remember the thoughts I had 5 hours ago. Well, okay. So, hello, listeners, because this is an audio format, not viewers, even though it's uploaded to a video website. Today, we're going to talk about superpowers. Anything to do with superpowers. There's all sorts of ways we can talk about superpowers. It's a perfect topic for people like us who can't stay on topic, because there's all sorts of branches and variants to this. I've thought of a couple of ideas already. As always, joined by the same two people. We've got Valhalla and Smoothbrain. I don't know why it was difficult to remember those names, but it kind of was. So the first superpower I'd like is, a normal person's memory and retention for names. Never going to happen. But I was thinking could talk about what we think is the best superpower objectively. And I mean just one superpower, not like a superpower set. It's like a specific singular power.
Yeah, so how much like bang for out of your buck can you get for that superpower? Like
Yeah. What
the
would
best one?
like
Strength, speed.
what would effectively be the best superpower in our, like, we can judge and argue for which one we think is the best. Because like I'm not talking about like Superman's like kit, because he has like 12 million different powers.
No,
Oh,
super strength would be one power. Flight would be
Yeah.
one power.
Yeah. Exactly. I think what the nice thing is about like human imagination too is that you can make like one superpower go really far. But let's start with Kevin. Kevin, what's your vote for best superpower?
Best superpower? Oh jeez.
I got my answer on lock.
I did not think this. I'm kind of put on the spot. I feel like geez, this is so bad because I instantly thought of how to use it for like nefarious purposes instead of heroic
That-
ones.
That's smart.
So what's the character from My Hero who can like just like create items at will?
Oh, creative.
Yeah, like her power is like actually like ridiculous if you think about it.
Because she can make anything, or is there some kind of limits to what she can
Well,
make?
like she can't make like living, and she has to understand the the chemical makeup or compound of what she's making.
Okay.
Yes, and
But,
I
like,
believe
for the most
also
part-
it pulls from her body stores, like her fat and things like that.
Lipids or something, or lipids, or I can't remember exactly, but yeah, like there is a limit to how much she can produce, but like realistically, whatever the hell she needs, she can make it.
Yeah.
And it's real. Like it's not just like some fake little like, oh, it's gone once it's done its purpose.
Yeah.
She can sell that shit.
You'd have to eat an awful lot of junk food to make sure that you're always fat.
Oh no, that's such a challenge.
But see, the downside is your Achilles heel. Your artery is clogging and you're dying of a heart attack.
It's okay. This is the world of anime, and there is no such thing as heart attacks. Due
This
to
is
poor diet.
untrue. This is very untrue.
No
Tell
one's
that
ever
to
got to
Goku and his
achieve-
pocket bacon.
Okay, fair, but that doesn't count.
but pocket bacon.
All right, Will.
Yeah, your turn.
My turn. The best superpower would be permanent mind control.
Permanent mind
Talking
control.
like a Gios type deal over here, or like
Gios, that's a $10 word. I like that.
Code Gios. So it could be like that, or just any sort of, hey, I say this, you believe it is absolutely true, and you will do whatever you can to make, like, to do whatever I ask you to.
You mean like telepathy or hypnosis?
Kind of, but it's not like it has an end to it. It's just, yeah, they now believe this is true, and they just go on with their life.
You mean like Aizen? You're basically going for his perfect hypnosis?
I really don't know his moveset, so maybe?
Aizen's power is he basically can make people believe anything he wants. His power is just complete hypnosis.
Yeah, because if you have that ability, you can easily control the entire world.
Yeah, so just mind control, basically.
For good or for evil.
Like... But yeah, for sure, that would be fantastic. Because you could also be like super subtle about it too, and like make it so that no one knows that you're the one doing it. Like you have someone else as a scapegoat, and then they've got a scapegoat, and it goes all the way up the line until like no one knows who the actual person in control is.
For you, you'd be very much like, hey, you could also just become friends with world leaders. Because the moment you meet them, they're your best friend.
The problem with that is then people are going to try to assassinate you randomly.
Yeah, you would have to find ways around it. Or just do like global broadcasts of, you all love me. And now they do.
Yeah, but then but you know what that's going to result in? That's going to result in the crazy fan who really, really loves you and is annoyed by the fact that everyone else loves you and is going to kill you so that you're the only person that they can love.
Okay, you do not want to harm me.
Yeah, but they don't want to harm you either. They just want to keep you all to themselves forever.
Fair.
Yeah, I think you got to spend some time on this one just to make sure you've covered all the insanity possibilities.
Oh yeah, you'd have to spend a lot of time with it, and you'd have to be very careful. But
and then you get shot by the one guy in the world who's wearing the tinfoil hat that somehow conveniently blocks your mind control, and everyone thought he was insane, but he was really the only clear-minded person in the world.
Here's the thing: if someone is able to break that mind control, that person's not going to live very long.
You'll never know. It'll be too late. He'll shoot you from the grassy knoll.
So you're saying that this person is both able to block it and good with the gun.
And his name's going to be Murphy.
Now you're asking for too much.
I don't think I am. Yeah, that's a pretty good power, though. Mind control is a pretty good one. They always have to find some bullshit way to get around mind control, like Magneto's psionic helmet that blocks mind control. Although I don't understand what stopped Xavier from just using telekinesis to pull it off of his head and then mind controlling him, but that's
nothing.
Neither here nor there. But that does segue into my power. I would want telekinesis because you can use telekinesis to like substitute almost any of the other like regular mundane superpowers. Like flight, you'd levitate yourself. You can do super strength by augmenting like what you're moving. You can make shields by using the telekinesis to stop things. All that kind of stuff. You can also kill people by exploding their hearts, which is something they never do in any of those movies or comic books. They always completely underuse telekinesis.
I feel like the whole lethal aspect is
Yeah, but there's always there's psychic villains too, and no one ever uses it. Like the Sith. The worst thing that the Sith ever do with their telekinesis is like choke somebody.
Yeah. You could literally hemorrhage someone's brain in a millisecond.
Yeah, or just like use the force like to expand air inside of their heart and then their heart just explodes. They're just instantly dead.
Yes.
Realistically, that would make sense, but from a storytelling standpoint, like how would the heroes combat that? They're just like, you're dead. Like
they wouldn't. You'd have to have a Jedi because a Jedi would be able to, like a normal person wouldn't.
You would have to have someone who's willing to do even more, and then you have a story of just, you know, an arms race of ever creative ways to kill them before they kill you.
Yeah, and that was kind of another thing I was thinking about with superpowers is that people always underutilize them in comic books or in movies. Like it's always seems to me like people in like made up stories are always the most unimaginative people ever. It's like, I have this power. How are you going to use it? Oh, you know, I'm a push stuff. But you have telekinesis. You can do anything you want. I'm going to push things while holding the side of my head. But you could do anything. You could do pretty much anything you can think of. That's all I can think of. Okay. Sure, why
Green
not?
Lanterns.
Yeah, Green Lanterns is like, I'm gonna make a giant pair of boxing gloves. I mean, they do get more ridiculous later on when you get better writers for them, but yeah, it's really funny when stuff like that happens. It's like, I've got these powers. What are you gonna use it for? Oh, I hit
Giant
that guy really
scissors.
hard. Yeah, I'm gonna. I like it when he makes a machine gun with his ring to fire like little tiny laser pellets. It's like you could literally just shoot a power beam at him. This seems unnecessary.
You could literally just shoot laser pellets at him.
Yeah, this is unnecessary in every way. I also like it when they have all these ridiculous powers, but then they'll like resort to like slugging it out. It's like way like in Infinity Wars when they're fighting Thanos, and he just for
Mhm.
some reason has like a drag out knuckle punch fight with them at one point. It's like you have the Reality Stone already. You could literally unmake them. You could just be like, that guy's gone. He no longer exists. I win.
Well,
But
okay,
no.
so I will say they do establish he enjoys brawling. In the first
To a
movie,
point.
when he's fighting the Hulk, he has the goofiest smile on his face as he is just bam.
Yes, but at that point in the movie, he only has the strength gem. It shows later on in the movie when he gets the other gems that he uses them, so he's never actually really fighting anyone. It's
No,
not till they're on that like dead planet that he does.
that's the thing is he can use them, but in that first scene, he's enjoying actually fighting them. So
Yeah, but
that's
in the
where his
first
character flaw comes
no, but
from.
in the first scene, he only has the power gem and he uses it to beat up the Hulk.
Yes, but he
Like,
enjoys
that's
the
how
fight.
he wins.
Yes, he can use them, but he enjoys the actual fight when
No,
he's doing that.
He enjoys being a sadistic bastard and showing that he's better than people. I don't think he really enjoys the fighting part. I think he enjoys the winning part. His character is like ridiculously arrogant in the movies. In the comics, he literally just GG's all of them. Like
Yes,
when he's
in the
fighting them.
comics, he's far more aggressive. I just read his character different in the movies than you did.
Yeah, because especially like when he's being attacked by them at that like the end part when Thor hits him with the axe. Like, I don't understand how the axe was able to get through his beam because he could literally use any of them. It's just people not making sense. Like when Tony Stark died at the end of that movie, it's like, but wait, you have the time stone again. Just freeze him in time so he doesn't die and take him to a hospital.
Or just, reverse time
Heal
on
him. Yeah, or just heal him with the reality stone so that he was never injured. I just feel like there's a lot of stuff like that where it's like, for the sake of the story, they just make stuff up.
So the reason that happened was Robert Downey Jr. wanted out, so it was more for the sake of the actor.
It was because of all of their contracts running out. I'm aware. It's just really annoying when that happens because you have to like do bad storytelling for that. It's another thing about superpowers that I do find kind of annoying because if you make a character too powerful, it writes you into an artistic corner. Like Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen. In the comic Watchmen, it's okay because that comic has a beginning and an end point, and it wasn't really meant to continue beyond that. But then they brought Dr. Manhattan into the DC universe and basically blamed their bad reboot on him.
Yes.
And then how do they deal with him now? Because that character is basically a god, and there's no way to deal with him. So the only way to win is to do some kind of arbitrary Deus Ex Machina where he either lets them win for some reason that makes no sense, or they just kill him in a way that doesn't make sense. There's legitimately no way.
It's not exactly a wise move on their part.
It's the same problem with Superman. Superman's become so powerful that the only way to beat him is to just ignore like some of his powers to have things happen.
That's why the best Superman stories are stories where powers are irrelevant.
It's just really annoying because in any situation, if we were to look back in the comics, we know that he can get out of that situation, so the situation doesn't make sense. And then you have to have the writer be just like good enough to like suspend your disbelief. I mean, you have to suspend a little bit of disbelief already because it's comic books about superpowers, but I don't know about you guys, but I have a really hard time suspending disbelief when I watch things. it makes my brother really angry. Like, I was watching a couple of episodes of Invincible with him the other day, and I got really annoyed because at the end of the last episode, when he gets beat up by his dad, and his dad like shoves his face through that train, which somehow doesn't injure him, even though him being punched into a building somehow injures him. Frustrates me already. They take him to the hospital, and in the next scene, he's bandaged up with IVs and stuff in him. How did they put the IVs in? How did they stitch him up? He is like steel skin. They can't do it. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know why you can't do that, but I'm able to do that very easily. Where it's like, I'm not gonna question the small stuff. I'm not gonna like. I don't care if it doesn't really matter to the overarching like story or narrative. Don't question it. It's fine.
I can choose to turn my brain off. So if I want to, I will nitpick the shit out of any media. I often read books twice, once with my brain off, once with my brain on, and I really enjoy that. I get to go through the story, enjoy the twists and turns, read it as the author wanted, and then I'll go back through and be like, okay, but does this actually make sense, or are there some like giant fucking plot holes? Like, hey Harry, why is your money the size of hubcaps?
Well, it really only bugs me when the story ignores its own rules. So like if it's in a world where I know that certain things don't like happen, it's fine. But when stuff like you have shown this character to be immune to this kind of damage and then they do something mundane where it still damages him, I'm like, guys, you wrote this character. You know this can't happen. Stop. Like, it always makes me so annoyed when someone gets punched in the face and the punch hurts them, but their body flying through 17 buildings doesn't phase them at all.
Yes.
I don't... That doesn't make sense. It would hurt buildings.
It's like in Pacific Rim where they're fighting the kaiju, and then all of a sudden he picks up the steel containers and starts bashing him in the head with it. It's like, aren't your fists made out of a harder steel? Like,
yeah, and he hits him with the whole boat at one point, and then it's like, and we've had the sword the whole time.
Yeah.
Good God, what a dumb.
Well, that movie has a whole bunch of issues. Like, okay, so you have a sword that can cut through these monsters. Why don't you just make a really long sword and just put it over top of the hole?
Yeah, or just stand beside the hole and cut them up as they come through it. There's a bunch of things they could have done.
The answer is we wouldn't have a fun movie then.
No, that movie is ridiculously fun to watch, even though it's dumb. Like, sometimes I'm able to do it, but there are other times where I just can't. Where I'll be sitting there and they'll do something, but like, that doesn't make sense. I also hate it when characters do something that doesn't, like, that's completely outside of their character for no reason. Where it's like, especially in a series that's shorter, where like these two characters hate each other, but then all of a sudden in the next episode they've done like one thing and now they're the best of friends. And I'm like, how did this come about? Well, you saw that they survived that one thing together. That's not enough, guys. They would still hate the shit out of each other.
Yes, romances in media are horrendously shown off in general. Like, there are so many times where it's like, are you... Okay, one thing that really bugs me in a lot of fucking media, you have that scene where the main character and generally a side character are out walking about, and they recognize someone they know, generally the love interest, but they're acting really weird and going to suspicious places. So let's just fucking follow them like creepers.
Yeah.
And then it's treated out like, oh yeah, they were actually in danger, and so this was a really good thing. No, motherfuckers. I don't give a fuck who or what. If your dumbass creeps up behind me and stalks me going around, that is not okay.
Yeah, like when a character does something in a movie that if you did it in real life would get you maced and or arrested is always funny.
It's like, no, that is not okay. Don't do that. Fucking talk to people. If you think they have an issue, talk to them. I hate that so much. I hate it.
Yeah, it really set you off.
It really did, and I'm enjoying it. We have completely gone off topic too, which is hilarious. Okay, now that we've talked about the best superpower in our opinion, what is the worst superpower that you have seen in media? Not necessarily the most useless, but what you would classify as the worst for any reason you can justify.
Eternal life.
Oh, explain. Ooh. I think I already know where you're going with this, but give us your reasoning.
I didn't say eternal youth.
Okay, I like that explanation. That's pretty great. I thought you were going for the all of my friends are dead and I'm lonely, but no, that's even worse. Oh dear.
Well, not just that, but like you're still like you're effectively the same, but you just don't die. But like you can still get overpowered. You can still get the shit kicked out of you. Like nothing really changed. Just the suffering just never ends.
I know, that's why Frieza decided not to wish for eternal life in the Broly movies. He's like, I didn't feel like spending my entire life getting murdered by the same person.
Yeah, there's a lot of normal ways. Yeah, you could have your head cut off and buried, and then you spend the next 600 years underground. There's the emotional toll of how can you make connections after everyone you loved and cared about has died, and anyone you try and connect to, they're just going to be dead in a couple years anyways. There's all of that psychological thing, but the most important thing is if you don't have eternal youth, you're going to be that just broken person as your body rots while you're alive, which refuses to die, as the body was not meant to exist for eternity.
I mean, eventually you would die in a sense like you would become dust. But that would be a long, painful, gruesome experience, because technically speaking, you can't die.
You'd still be conscious, you'd just be dust.
Yeah, that's the thing is, depending on how you got your abilities, you may still be conscious as your dust, as your body is dying, as things eat your body, as you rot, you turn to dust, you're spread out, your consciousness spread out into just this fine mist, never able to truly make thoughts again. It is hell of just a true different nature.
That's kind of horrifying. But yeah, that's pretty awful power. Yeah. Yep. Kevin, give me a bad superpower.
Bad superpower. Oh, geez. Oh, I don't know. Oh, yeah. Light laser beams coming out of your eyes.
That one's fun.
It's fun, but like realistically speaking, like that's it.
Here's the question.
Also highly lethal. You'd be too afraid to actually ever use them.
No, I'd be down.
Laser beams coming out of your eyes, that doesn't mean that your flesh can hold up to the laser beams.
Oh, that's another thing I want to talk about superpowers later, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Just imagine you whip out your laser beams. You didn't have your eyelids quite as open as they need to be, and now you just burnt a hole through your eyelids.
Burnt your eyelids off. They never turn off. You're like Cyclops. You have to wear those ruby quartz glasses at all times.
Which I just feel like an ability where it's just like non-stop lethal, and yeah, it's just no good.
Like that episode of Smallville where Clark's developing his powers, and then whenever he's aroused, his laser vision goes off.
Fucking what?
You guys never watched Smallville, did you? Did you not watch Smallville? Smallville was one of those like early 2000 sitcoms about Superman as a like teenager, and it was strangely horny at times, Nate, just for like no reason.
Nate, you know what my connection to sitcoms are, right?
It's not a sitcom. It wasn't a sitcom. It was
you just called it a sitcom.
I know I called it a sitcom, but it wasn't a sitcom. It was a what is that called? It wasn't a comedy, it was a serial.
Even worse.
A serialized drama? No, not serial.
It was a soap opera.
It was effectively a superhero soap opera, yeah. I really enjoyed it. And I actually watched a couple of I have all the seasons on DVD. I watched a little bit of it a while ago because I was trying to remember why I liked it, and it is fun to watch. I mean, the logic in that series is completely off in left field because every other day, some teenager gets super of his friends, And yet all of the parents continue to send their kids to the school where within 2 weeks, 3 sophomores have died. And yet no one seems to care or be worried about it happening again. And then it happens again. I don't think that's how that would work.
Here's the thing. The reason why it works is sometimes you just want a motherfucker dead.
Wait,
that might work for some of the parents, but not all of them.
Parents in media are just portrayed as just these incompetent, like, idiots. They're all the parents from Pokemon.
Yes. Oh yeah, and of course, half of the people can't figure out that Clark has superpowers, even though he literally like saves people every episode. All of the villains see him use his powers, yet the only person to figure it out is his like girlfriend. Well, one of his love interests. He has like 3 because love triangles are interesting, I guess.
They're fun to talk
tell. In like season 7.
It's free drama.
So 7 seasons.
There's 9.
Yeah, shit. So the reason why parents have to be stupid in most media is the problem of I want to show off the capability of some sort of underaged person. How do I make them compete with people who have decades of experience on them and are also capable? Well, we'll just make them non-capable.
Right? I did still find Smallville funny for the fact that they actually took into account some of the superpower problems with Clark being like a teenager but also being Superman, where every time his girlfriends want to make out with him, he can't because he'll accidentally kill them. So they all think that he's ridiculously restrained until the episode where his girlfriend gets superpowers. And then it just like changes scenes and the town experiences an earthquake. And I was like, I see what happened there. And that made me laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
Hancock did it first.
No, it didn't. Hancock was far after Smallville. Smallville came out in like the year 2000. I'm pretty sure Hancock was like 2005 or 6.
We can ask our good friend
Michael Google.
Oh, 2008. Hot damn. That movie's not as old as I thought it was.
Yeah, it's pretty old. Smallville started in 2001, so yeah, Smallville definitely did it first.
Damn. Hancock, you plagiarizer.
I
actually enjoyed that movie.
Yeah. It's not a very good movie. I did not enjoy that movie.
I really enjoyed that movie. Even
as much as I like Will Smith, I thought that movie was garbage. But that's not the point. My opinions are not always the correct ones. They're just my opinions. This is obvious. Anyways,
I loved in that movie when he would stick one guy's head up another guy's ass.
I 100% knew you would like that part. I don't, because I thought about what that would actually mean.
Same. That's why I like horrifying.
It. No. The other guy would actually be dead. Anyways,
that's the point.
Depends.
I am tired. I am so tired of good guys being like, "Oh, I'm not gonna kill. Meanwhile, Batman breaks every bone in your fucking body.
Yeah, but they're still not
bitch.
Dead.
Just murder a motherfucker. It's easier and it's nicer. I can't. Yeah, I have a hard time reading books now, or comic books or anything, where a hero refuses to kill a bad guy. It's like, dude, this person has gone on a genocide and has murdered thousands. Fucking murk his ass. He deserves it.
But my morals.
Your morals are corrupt and incorrect.
Wait, Will. To quote Iago from Return of Jafar, you'd be surprised what you can live through. Anyways,
you would be surprised what you can live through, like murdering people.
I'm never going to get to say what my least favorite superpower is.
What's your least favorite superpower?
I was going to say something ridiculously useless would probably be the worst superpower, like the ability to make someone's clothes not match. Or the ability...
Awfully specific.
Yeah, but my least favorite superpower is actually OP, but it just annoys the shit out of me, and that's that guy in Bleach who whatever he imagines comes true, because that's fucking bullshit.
That's very OP.
I knew you were going to talk about that.
The world would be doomed if I had that.
No, it's the stupidest thing in the world. And again, they have to do the stupid thing where he loses because it doesn't make sense. Because his power is literally whatever I imagine becomes reality. So he imagines another Quincy that exists. And then later in the fight, he's like, I just can't imagine you existing anymore. He stops existing. He's like, I imagine that you're in a black hole. He's suddenly in a black hole. It literally makes no sense. He loses because Kenpachi isn't like dying, and he's like, you're just really strong, but I can be just as strong as you. And he imagines that he's as strong as Kenpachi, and then his body falls apart because his imagination couldn't imagine his body being strong enough to handle it. And then he dies, but the thing that doesn't make any sense is we find out at that point that he was just a brain in a jar anyways, so he didn't even have a body.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Does he sleep?
No.
Really, he can't sleep.
He's just a brain.
The brain
who imagines he has a body. It doesn't. I don't know. I didn't ask him if he could sleep, but I don't think so. He doesn't make sense. I mean, he could have imagined himself dying, and that made sense because that's what they were doing at the beginning, where like Kenpachi was starting to beat him, and he's like, Kenpachi's like, "Did you imagine that you could lose?" And I was like, "Okay, that makes sense," because if everything he imagines, including his intrusive thoughts, comes true, there's a chance where he's like, "Oh no, I imagined this possibility of him killing me," and then he dies. But they do it in such a weird, stupid way that makes no sense because his powers were too OP, and that annoys me. That's why that power is the worst, because it just doesn't make sense, and it was written really badly.
Well, that power would actually be very good. If I had that, one, the world would be fucked because every time I have a nightmare, it'll be bad. But two, every time I have a good dream or a thought, boom, the world is my oyster.
The problem is, if you had the power exactly as it is in there, if you had an intrusive thought of your brain exploding, you would just instantly die.
Yes.
That's the scary part about that thought. Because you could be like looking at someone and be like, huh, imagine if that person died, then they just die, and you'd be like, oh shit, no, I didn't mean it.
Well, then you just imagine them back alive. But it'd be scary. It's like, imagine if nothing existed. There goes all of existence.
Yeah, mind over matter.
Literally.
I think what makes that power the most terrifying is the fact you have zero control over it.
Yeah, that's the scary part, because your mind just, whatever you think becomes reality would be really scary. There was that I really like Twilight Zone. I realize that neither of you has ever seen an episode of Twilight Zone, but that's beside the point. Bear with me for a few minutes. There's an episode of the Twilight Zone where they actually kind of take that theme, where basically there's a small town in America where a child was born with like omnipotent powers, and he's like 4 years old. So it's basically from the perspective of, what if a toddler had god powers? And it's actually terrifying, because if he gets annoyed with someone, he just basically kills them because he doesn't understand that it's wrong.
Yep. And you will never be able to train them.
Yep.
Yeah, because you can't punish him, because every time he does, and that's basically what happens in the episode, is every time someone tries to do something, he gets angry and basically effectively kills them.
Terrifying.
Yeah, because it's like, he's like 4, he doesn't understand that his actions have consequences, or that what he's doing is wrong. So he's effectively a horrifying monster just because he's like too young.
Yes.
And then he turns his dad into a Jack-in-the-Box and sends him into the cornfield. Yeah, so it's a really kind of scary episode, because it's also in black and white, which makes it more unsettling. But yeah, I find that one very interesting. I can't remember what that one's called anymore. Oh, what is that one called? Oh no, I only remember A Monster Is Due on Maple Street, because that's another really good episode, but that's beside the point. Back to Superpowers. I'm trying to think, like, which universe would you want to be in that has superpowers? Like, if you had to pick a universe to reside in.
I don't have superpowers. I'd be fucked.
I didn't say you didn't have them, but that's why you have to pick carefully.
So you gain whichever superpower.
Well, this is actually a double question then. It's which superpower would we have, and then
not
universe
necessarily, because you could go to like a universe like the My Hero Academia one, where like chances are you would have a quirk, you just don't necessarily know which one it is. So you have to like imagine that you were given the opportunity, like a genie gives you this wish, he will send you to a universe and you will slot in as one of those people, but it's random what like your you would slot into when you get there. Like Norm the Genie is doing this to you.
Harry Potter, bitch. If I'm a muggle, I've got a Glock. If I'm a wizard, I've got a wand.
I don't know if that counts as superpowers, though. That's just magic.
All superpowers are just magic. From a story structure point of view, a superpower or special ability is magic.
They explain them sometimes. Microscopic bacteria living in your bloodstream.
Even if you explain them, it's still magic because it's a tool within the storytelling's toolbox that can have an in-universe rationale for existing. Like quirks are just genetic, are just the next generation. They're basically X-Men, but it's still magic. No one actually can quadruple their strength, right?
Well, plus basically in Bleach, everyone has superpowers. You just either have to die or have someone with a bunch of spiritual pressure be near you to unlock them.
Yeah.
You either gain them as a hollow or you can develop them as a human.
All right, Kevin, what's your answer?
Gone oddly silent. Did we kill him? Did his brain explode?
Someone probably came to the door. All right, Nate, in the meantime, what's your answer?
Yeah, see, I don't know. I was hoping that Kevin would go first so I could decide. There's a lot of universes I'd like to be in. Like, one that has superpowers, like the Star Wars universe would be fun. Even if you're not a Jedi, you still live in the Star Wars universe, which is kind of, like, humongous. And there's hundreds of different planets you could be on. Some that are like ours. Some that are, like, basically, you know, back near the Renaissance time period. Ones that are even further back than that. It's got all of these different things that you could, like, go into. There's spaceships, there's all that fun stuff. But that's not really superpowers. Although a lot of the aliens have effectively superpowers.
Mm-hmm. You do also have to deal with the constant, you know, fascist movement taking over the universe over and over again.
It's fine. Just join the Empire like a good boy.
Oh, just be a fascist? That's your answer?
A space fascist. There's the One Punch Man universe, which is basically the same as the My Hero one, where pretty much anyone can gain superpowers from anything.
Kind of?
Pretty much all of the villains become monsters because of something mundane happening in their life. It's like, I really liked turtles, therefore I grew a turtle shell on my back and became impenetrable.
Are you complaining about One Punch Man?
No, we're talking about, I'm still picking a universe that I want to live in. And I was saying that that's one that you could do because getting superpowers in that universe is ridiculously easy for no apparent reason. But I think like the Bleach universe just because the attacks all have names that are overly dramatic and I find that really fun. In order to use your power, you have to yell an attack, and I find that really funny.
So you want to be imagined out of existence.
Yeah, that's the only real problem there is that one. Yeah, there's that. And that when you die, you effectively go from living in the real world to living in huts in the middle of nowhere. That's kind of sucks too.
Yeah? Unless you're eaten by a hollow.
That's okay.
By a Quincy.
It's fine. If you get eaten by a hollow, all you have to do is make sure that your will is strong enough to become the head hollow in the Gillian so you can turn into a Juka. It's fine.
Yeah.
Totally doable. Oh! Terry Pratchett's world. That would be fun. I'd really like to live in the Terry Pratchett world.
Fair.
That'd be great. They've got wizards. They've got magic. They've got death anthropomorphized. He likes cats and curry. He's a cool guy. That'd be fun.
All right, Kevin, back to you.
Oh, this is it's kind of rough because I don't really read comics or anything.
Kevin, we all know what universe you want to be in.
Which universe is that?
Yu-Gi-Oh!
There's no superpowers in that universe.
You're telling me that there's no magic when monsters come to fucking life and destroy things.
It's solid vision.
There is ancient Egypt magic.
I don't want to talk about the ancient Egypt magic one because that's the one where the guy has a giant dragon penis, and I'm not.
All the same fucking universe. So Kevin wants to go to the universe with giant dragon penises. Right, Kevin?
I think though my superpower in that universe would just be understanding basic deck building skills. It's just like,
Yes.
they're like, yeah, go Karibo. It's like, how do I put this? Arbon? Like, it's, I don't understand. So yeah, I was actually kind of stumped. I did not know which universe I was gonna pick. I was kind of gearing towards being some kind of like B character in a B series like the Crimson Chin. So I could say so I could say like the most ridiculous like one-liners or like stupid corny catchphrases, like the Smoldering Ember one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great one.
So yeah, that. But yeah, let's go with that superpower of being able to make a Yu-Gi-Oh deck. That's a superpower, I guess.
You become also the king of games and the OTK man.
Also, this is actually a scene from Yu-Gi-Oh that I'm showing you. I hate the fact that that's a thing.
Knew what
now you gotta put that
doing.
in the podcast.
They knew what they were doing. They 100% knew what they were doing.
It's like the same time when they did that with Orochimaru in one of the chapters. He like came out of the snake's mouth, and the snake's tongue was oddly in a space where, yeah, I think you get the idea.
For those of you who have no idea, just to quickly describe this, look up Zork Necrophades from Yu-Gi-Oh and do an image search. You'll see what we're referring to. This was the actual design.
I want to see the one that 4Kids made, because 4Kids would have obviously have.
It's not that different, but
really.
There's a very funny interview out there where people were asking the author about this thing, and he describes he doesn't actually remember when he made this creature or drew those pages. It was a period where he was doing such intense overtime, and he was probably not in his right mind while he was working that he doesn't remember it. He just had it one day. He was probably high on cocaine.
Oh, yeah, he definitely was. I don't know why. It's so weird because it kind of almost looks like a guy riding on a dragon if you look at it in just the right light, but no, it's a guy with a giant dragon head.
Oh, I see what they did with the 4Kids. Instead of making it like the smooth, like long neck of a dragon, they just made him like have a fat stomach, and he was kind of coming out of his belly button or some shit.
They put a skirt on it, and it's very funny.
It looks like he's pregnant with a dragon.
Honestly, he's just pitching a tent the way that it wraps around.
Oh no! Oh, this is the worst.
So he went from a dragon dick to pitching a tent, which is a dragon dick. But then again, what could they have done?
I know. It was just
It probably could have like taken out the dragon dick altogether, and it would have just been like a big scary fiend monster.
Yeah. Let's go back to superpowers. I'm getting more and more comfortable.
When 4Kids got this, there was probably nothing they could do because they didn't have nearly enough animation time to completely redraw his other leg in the walk cycle and do everything to get rid of that, right?
Yeah, no, there was no way.
They were stuck between a rock and a hard place.
They could have just blurred it out.
Oh, come on. A giant purple blur straight out. That would be worse.
That would be worse. Because then the kids would know. They would know.
Oh.
I'm trying to think of like some ridiculously useless powers that I remember like reading about. But there was like the ability to change your hair color or something like that would be completely mundane. Oh. But that gets back to something that Will brought up that I remember when you were talking about like having laser eyes that destroy your eyelids. Something that has always annoyed me in like sci-fi and comic books is when someone has a robotic arm and they use it to lift a car. Because your robotic arm might be strong, but your shoulder joint isn't. So if your arm tried to lift a car, it would just tear your robotic arm off of your torso. Or shatter.
Yeah, it would not go well.
Because that always drove me crazy. Or it's like someone tries to attack them, so they use their arm to block like a ridiculous attack. The force would travel through your robotic arm and then shatter your spine. unless you had your whole body augmented to withstand the force. That was something that always drove me crazy.
Oh yeah, no, that's always one where it's like, yeah, he's got a mechanical arm, so that's totally fine. But
yeah, also that amount of weight on your back would destroy you.
Your back, your shoulder, your legs would snap. Like no matter what.
Well, like even if your robot arm only weighed slightly more than your regular arm, like a human arm weighs like 30 pounds. If it weighed 60 pounds, that's double the weight your body can take. Like you would destroy yourself.
No, your one half would just be jacked.
Yeah, it's just like driven me crazy when someone gets a robotic arm and they're somehow like ridiculously OP on that side. It's like that doesn't make sense.
Kevin, I've made it for you. The 4 options they had.
I don't.
I appreciate option 3 the most.
I was really hoping we were done with that.
For the listening audience at home, I basically took a picture of the big dragon-dicked guy walking. I put a black sensor bar over the dragon, and I blurred the dragon so we could see the different options between his weird tent he was pitching versus just a black bar versus, a good old blurring.
We should just have him talk to Dr. Manhattan, the other person with unnecessary junk that got censored. Dag nabbit, now I'm trying to think of superpowers and I am stuck with this image that you've given me. What's that?
The ability to translate any language.
That's an amazing superpower. Think of the knowledge.
Other people just do that naturally, though. You just have a
I can't.
Power. You could.
I know, but I can think of ways that could be really useful. You'd be like an amazing spy.
Wait, but translate any language?
Any. Well, right. I guess any known.
Okay, because I was going to say, you could be an archaeologist and a historian who's just like, oh yeah, this is what this means. Here's everything that we've been wanting to know about the past.
Yeah, not just that. If you could understand any language, you could understand any cipher. So any type of rumbling of any message, you would instantly know the meaning of. If you took that power to its extreme, it's like, this guy's put up these clues on the internet. I know what it means. What? Yeah, it's a puzzle language. This is exactly what he's saying. That'd be kind of cool. But
now, if it's any language, would visual language also work?
I would think so, yeah. If we're taking the power to its full potential. Extreme.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, because this is what I'm talking about. With imagination, almost any power can be useful. Almost, not all. Kevin said something earlier, though, when we were talking about this over Discord. I think we should all make up a superpower that hasn't really been utilized much, and then explain how it would be useful. Kevin, I liked yours earlier today. You want to share it with the class?
Oh, the one where I had the ability to throw out my opponent's back?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a fun
fighting, and all of a sudden it's like your Achilles heel. It's like, ah!
Yeah, and it doesn't matter how strong they are, it just throws out their back. It's like Superman. He's like, "Ah, my back." He can still shatter you with a single look, but he can't move at the moment.
Are you kidding me? I mean, you were in chat with me yesterday when it happened. I just moved, and all of a sudden it was just like, trying not to yell. I just seize up Superman's entire upper back. It's like he's just on the ground foaming through pain.
Yeah, I know. And then there was a second half to that power, if I recall.
Okay, well, I feel like that's.
Well, you can't hide it now. You gotta bring it all out.
That's a separate power. That is a separate power altogether, and that would be if you were fighting someone. What happens if they had the power to just give you severe diarrhea?
Yeah, that'd be a horrible power.
You could kill them with that power.
Just making someone uncontrollably vomit as well. It doesn't matter how strong you are. If you start throwing up, you're pretty much helpless.
Well, if you vomit too much, you also can't breathe in, so you'll suffocate to death.
Yeah, I mean, but you could be fighting someone that doesn't need to breathe, but while they're throwing up, they're not killing you, so that works.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that those types of powers are like useful for against like living things. If it's a construct or some freaky like
Nah,
something
it'll
that
work on
has
the
a cow,
construct. The construct starts throwing up his in.
just starts throwing up rocks.
Yeah, it's like Golem. Because there's all sorts of ridiculous like ways you could use powers. Like I was thinking about like if you had the ability to vibrate molecules, you could like basically phase through things like the Flash does. You could technically make things explode if you could vibrate the molecules apart. This is all pseudoscience, of course, but it is superpower, so it doesn't matter. Going in the ability to turn things invisible, you could make someone's eyes invisible so they can't see.
Yeah.
The ability to make clothing appear, you could just like make someone have so many sweaters on that they can't move.
They'd overheat and die.
Conjuring animals would be pretty crazy as a superpower.
Oh yeah, that'd be crazy.
I would just drop like I don't like you. I'm gonna just summon a cow above you, just drop it on top of you.
You just can't get over the cow crushing, can you?
No, I can't.
Plus,
like I can't do it. I can't do an elephant. An elephant would just be too much.
Oh right, you weren't with us for D&D this week. Have we got some fun stuff for you?
You crush someone with a cow?
No. That's for later. But don't worry. There was some things that happened. You missed some events. There's some notes in the thing you can read later. But I was also thinking about like real life superpowers, like stuff that's not really a superpower, but that is basically a superpower. Like, have you heard about those people that actually have like the quote unquote photographic memory, where there's those people who literally remember everything that's ever happened in their life?
Eidentic memory.
Yeah, that is essentially in and of itself a superpower, because there are people who can do it.
A horrifying one, but yes.
Yeah, there was I used to watch Ripley's Believe It or Not, which was a show again in the late 90s where they would go around and talk about unbelievable things. And there was this pair of twins. They were fairly old in the 90s, they're probably dead now, but they had that, what is it, eidetic
memories, yeah.
Eidetic memories, and they could remember every single thing that had ever happened in their life. They were a little bit strange, obviously, at that point, but they could recite anything that they'd ever seen or done. It was really creepy, but also kind of cool. There was also that guy that could eat pretty much anything. He would eat razor blades, broken glass. He ate an entire plane and a motorcycle piece by piece. Wouldn't hurt his digestive system. Didn't make any sense.
There were weirdos. See, having an eidetic memory...
Digest it?
It didn't digest it. He would shit it out, but it wouldn't injure him. Aside from his teeth were wrecked. I don't know. And the doctors talk about it. They're like, they did like x-rays and it showed it sitting in his stomach, and it's like, oh, he can do it.
He has a very, very tough lining.
Yeah, it was
one
super
hole to
weird.
the other.
Yeah, it was just
memory
random.
Would be the worst, because everyone's done this at one point or another, where you're lying in bed trying to go to sleep, and your brain's like, remember this super fucking cringy thing you did like 6 years ago? Now you do. But
no, that doesn't work.
At all times, always, with the worst things you've ever done, you could never forget and move on from it.
No, because when I'm tired, my brain can't focus on anything. Like, if I get tired enough that I'm starting to fall asleep, I'll basically kind of start dreaming when I'm awake still a little bit, where my brain will just start, like, jumping from, like, images to images, and I can't really do anything with it. It's like, oh, guess I'm tired, and then I'll fall asleep.
Oh, okay, so you're the exception. Everyone else on the planet knows what I'm talking about.
Have you never been there with me when I started to fall asleep and I'll say something weird?
You say a lot of weird things all the time. So
like, there was a time when I was at my friend's house and we were watching a movie and I started to fall asleep, and they'll say something to me, but because I'm already kind of half dreaming, because I have like I get sleep paralysis and stuff like that. My brain doesn't go REM sleep properly. So when I start to fall asleep, I'll like start to dream even before I'm fully asleep. So I'll think someone's talking to me and I'll say something. I'll be like, the hell are you talking about? So this was like 10 years ago. I fell asleep, like partially asleep on their couch while we were watching a movie. And I basically was like, there's no way a dental assistant could make that much money. And they're like, what? I'm like, what? What did I say? like, you said that a dental assistant could make that much money. I'm like, and then I was like still young enough where it was awkward, so I was like trying to play it off as if I had known what I was talking about. It's like, yeah, no, they just don't make that much money. You know what I'm saying? That they could make more. It's a difficult job. I mean, you know, it's fine.
Okay, then. I remember when you would do that when me and my brother were at your place, and then me and your brother would get you to answer all kinds of questions while in that fugue state. It was great.
Yeah, apparently I used to talk in my sleep a lot.
A lot.
Yeah, it's always fun. Also, sleep paralysis is horrible. Never get it.
I've had it before. It's awful. I sculpted
it. Really is.
I lost that sculpt.
That's unfortunate. Oh, no, it's posted in the... Oh, the sculpt is gone. The picture is still in our chat somewhere.
Yeah, well, and the creature's burned into my skull. I could sculpt another one identical to it. No problem. That ain't leaving. Yeah.
I think that's what I like about Superpowers, is the fact that the human imagination has come up with so many and they're so varied. That is pretty fun, because like there's almost any superpower you can think of has been represented in media at some point, or in tales at some time.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the fascination with anime as well, right? Like it's really fun. It's kind of the whole point that we used to have games and role-playing games where you got to be that character, because it gives you that chance to like put yourself in the shoes of something unrealistic and crazy like that.
It is why we still have RPGs to this day. Yeah,
exactly. Let's just not have powers like in some of those JRPGs. Those are weird.
Are they?
Yeah, they really are. Let's not talk about Final Fantasy and the logic of the stories in those games, where it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I really enjoy how like some games too, like I like how in Undertale the superpower is that you're too stubborn to die because you're filled with determination.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yep.
1 second. I have to mute my microphone. There is many sirens going off outside my house right now.
Oh boy.
Holy.
Oh, I hear that. This is where you find out that the police have finally come for him. And we'll have to start doing the podcast as a duo until his trial is over and they give him his internet access once a week in prison.
Man, all that dragon dick porn, they're coming to get him.
No, stop, please. Think about what you're saying before you say it.
Oh, I had been waiting to pull that back to that for a while.
Oh, dear. I'm trying to look at my, like...
Pull back, but he didn't pull out.
Never pull out.
Stop it!
On that note, we've been going an hour.
Let's stop there. I enjoyed that chat. If anyone feels like commenting on this, you can put in your favorite superpower. It can be anything you want. There's no judgment here. Your power could be garbage, and you can still like it. That's fine.
Yeah, put in your favorite superpower, or how you think they should have dealt with Mr. Two-Leg.
Two-Leg?
Yeah, two-leg and a D.
Oh, no, stop! This is not what the podcast was about. That's it. We're done. Until next time, we'll come up with another mundane topic and get off topic immediately, just like always. But until then, goodbye.
Bye!
Kevin, say goodbye. Why are you always so unkind?